Fist up! Fist up! Fist up! Uhuru. Man, it feel good to be back in this place. Yeah, it feel good to be around like-minded comrades. Uhuru. I'm Westbrook, the president of the local branch of APSP, and I just want to welcome you. But we greet each other with Uhuru because Uhuru means freedom. And we believe that freedom should stay on our minds and on our lips until it is one. Uhuru? Uhuru. Quab, I want to invite you to this beautiful, beautiful place wherever you are located. Come on and come on in to these beautiful doors that's located at 4101 West Florissant, St. Louis, Missouri. We call it a Quabba Hall. And we call it a Quabba Hall because we know in Swahili that means welcome. And you are welcome to the house that Black has built. Uhuru. We know that led by the African People's Socialist Party, the International People Democratic Uhuru Movement was formed to lead the struggle for Black power, peace, and bread in the 21st century.
That's right.
In the 21st century. Our community rallies are held every Sundays at 3 p.m. to 5. You can also view them in the Burning Spirit News YouTube channel or on Facebook. To join us, visit epidom.org/today and select a membership level. And we encourage the online viewers to like, share, and subscribe to the Burning Spirit TV YouTube channel. All right, now, y'all, today's theme is the Uhuru Bowl. Today's theme. So, what we're going to do is in a minute, we're going to separate folks, and we're going to have a chairman team, we're going to have a Luca Day team, and we're going to have some flag football. Y'all ready for some flag football?
No.
Oh, we ain't talking about that type of Uhuru Bowl. Okay, my fault. We're talking about the type of Uhuru Bowl where we salute Black excellence. We salute revolutionaries, athletes. And today we're going to hear from the chairman in the reading of the political report for the April 17th through the 19th plenary that's been held here in St. Louis. And that title is appropriate name, This Time Till It's Wrong. This time till it's won. Power in our hands. And it's not just Trump, it's what? The whole damn system. Uhuru. So, couple house rules. Can you please put your, and I think I just spoke the chairman up, so let's everybody give a round of applause for our chairman. How you tell him? Looking at our suave, Uhuru. Professor Mali tell him. Fist up! Fist up! Fist up! Uhuru. Like as I was saying, a couple house rules, please put your phones on silence or vibrate so it won't be a distraction. The bathroom is to your left, my right. And let's have a good time as we participate. Uhuru. But before we continue, can I have y'all to stand and participate in the African Nation Fight song by our very own Uhuru?
Uhuru.
Uhuru.
Patrice Lumumba's life won't be in vain. We are winning. Keep up the work in Marcus Garvey's name. We are winning. Independent and free is what we will be. We are winning. Africa will bask in our victory. We are winning. Long live the liberation of our African nation. Freedom to organization. Socialist world, our creation. 1 billion strong, yes, we are one. We are
Yes, we are. We are winning. When we fight, we win. Uhuru. We are winning. We are winning. We are winning. We are winning. Uhuru. 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 And if you heard the news as it came out not too long ago with the Uber 3, with the release of the probation, well, they say when we fight, we what? We win. Uhuru. We are winning. Okay, before we go on, Gregory, I'm finna call you up next. But before we move forward, I started something last year and I want to keep going with it, right? February. Is there any folks in the room that's birthday months in February? Okay. Got us Nova. We got our Nova. And we got our comrade back there. Solidarity, Amanda. Uhuru. Well, we got a couple in the room. I know we got many more in the party. So right now, we just want to give a round of applause and then say, wish I a happy revolutionary birthday. Uhuru. That's what's up. We need to be celebrated more and celebrate you all even the more. But right now, okay, I'm sorry. Today we salute Black athletes, not just for their excellence in their particular sports, but for the courageous stands they took in the fight for freedom and liberations for Africa and African/Black people. The Uhuru. So we finna celebrate them. And in our way of celebrating them, in the process of celebrating them, I want to bring our comrade Gregory Reed up to the mic. Uhuru. Uhuru. Fist up. Right back. Uhuru.
My God, brothers and sisters, comments, Chairman. Listen, we're all getting prepared to go watch this gladiator event sometime this evening, and I just wanted to kind of reflect on a couple of things. We have so many. We have so many wonderful athletes, men and women who have worked very hard to hone their craft, to bring us entertainment. And I think sometimes we forget a couple of things. One is the impact that they have on the nation, the world as a whole, and maybe some of the small things that occur behind the scenes in their struggles to pursue their craft. And I just wanted to reflect on 2 or 3 athletes. There's so many, and I hope many of you will go online or you look at your favorite athlete, dig behind the scenes and say, hey, what is that they've really gone through? And what is it that they are bringing to us? Can't help but think that all the brothers and sisters that love baseball, and certainly here in St. Louis, it's a big baseball town. And we talk about the history, and you hear them talk about so many of the wonderful baseball players. There's one of the players that was here in St. Louis that had an impact on the whole industry of baseball beyond anything that many of us ever give any thought to. His name was Curt Flood. And Curt Flood was with the Cardinals for about 12 seasons, and he won 7 Golden Globe awards. But the interesting thing about baseball is that baseball kind of got grandfathered in to the old industrial concept that the industrialist owned all the means of production, including the labor of the individuals that worked for them. And this went back to the late 1800s. And Curt Flood, the Cardinals decided that, hey, we're going to trade Flood to Philadelphia. And Flood didn't want to go to Philadelphia. It was a terrible stadium, had no prospect for winning. It was a racist town beyond what we understood at the time as being racist. And he challenged it. He said, no, I don't want to go to Philadelphia. And he challenged the system that they had at the time in 1969 when they wanted to send him. He filed a claim against Major League Baseball that said, hey, I should have the right to negotiate my own future. And he went to the Supreme Court, and he lost at the Supreme Court. And it was interesting because they didn't say that he was wrong. They said, well, you know, baseball has kind of been around all these years, and baseball has kind of had this little special relationship with industry. And so he lost the case. However, as a result of him laying that claim, later under arbitration, 2 other individuals also brought suit against Major League Baseball, but they did it in arbitration. And to make a long story short, they ended up winning the arbitration. So it never challenged whether baseball had this special relationship with antitrust, and it still hasn't been resolved. It still has that special relationship with antitrust. However, as a result of Curt Flood bringing his claim, and then later Messenger Smith and McNally bringing their arbitration claim, all baseball players then had the right to arbitrate for their own labor. Now, the significance of that is in 1975, when Messersmith was laying their claim, they were making $92,000 a year. As a result of the claim, they ended up having the right to challenge the system and get $1 million in that. So there's a big difference in terms of what they were able to bring into their own pocket. So I wanted folks to understand that many times what we see happening with those individuals around us can have a long range effect on the whole industries, and it happens in industry after industry after industry. But since we're in the baseball or in the sports mode right now, I want to also talk to another couple of individuals, Tommie Smith and John Carlos. Now, we've heard a great deal about them, of course, over the years, because we see the pictures of the fist up in the air. We see they're challenging the whole Olympic Committee, bringing attention to the fact that there was discrimination in the Olympics. But it has kind of a little backstory, too, that we need to be aware of. It wasn't just 2 individuals challenging the ongoing discrimination of Black athletes and Black Americans. It was an international challenge. Back in 19 Now, this was in 68 when they did this. Back in 1963, the Olympic Committee had banned South Africa from the Olympics. And they did that because of apartheid. And just before the 68 Olympics, they reinstated them. Well, this caused all kinds of controversy. And at least 30-some nations challenged that. They said, oh, no, 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 no. If you're going to bring them back in, we're not going to play. And Tommie Smith and John Carlos was kind of at the pinnacle of that particular struggle. So I wanted to bring in attention that there was a lot more going on during that whole Olympic period that we often don't see. Among them were things, there was an organization that had been founded by, what was his name? Gosh, the Olympic Project for Human Rights. I'm sorry.
Out of California?
Out of California, yes. And Edwards.
Yeah.
Had formed this. Now, this had been going on since the early 60s, organizing African-American athletes, struggling for civil and human rights. Folks such as Dick Gregory had been instrumental in attempting to boycott the Olympics back in the 60 and 64. So it kind of came to a head with this whole international thing that was going on. Now, there were three, by the way, I was going to say there were three individuals that were on that podium. You may remember that first and third place were won by Smith and Carlos. Well, second was won by an Australian, a white Australian athlete. And he had asked the Olympic Project how he could be in support of them. And so he also wore their badge when they were on the podium. Now, I bring this up because we know the consequences that occurred with Carlos and Smith. They were thrown out of the Olympic Village. They were sent home, received death threats. They couldn't get jobs. So there were all kinds of things that happened to them. But also, Peter Norman, who was the Australian athlete, his parents had grown up and worked in, I believe it was the, it was one of the social organizations like one of the major national organizations that worked with Indigenous people in Australia. So he was very aware of this discrimination that was occurring in Australia of whites against the Indigenous people. So his support of that, of the protest that Smith and Carlos put forth was familiar to him. And he too suffered the consequences of that. I bring that up because you know, I think the chairman had brought to our attention not too long ago that with the Uhuru 3, that the system wants to make sure that if you are willing to support what these people of African descent are willing to do, you're going to suffer some consequences as well. And despite Peters being a top-notch athlete, Australia did not let him participate in any other Olympics after that, despite him winning at the top of his league. And so I just wanted folks to be aware that there are consequences to what these individuals do. And we need to be very aware that if you're going to support us, there may very well be consequences. We know of Colin Kaepernick. Football is coming up here. We know of Colin Kaepernick, and I'm only going to say a couple of words about it because, okay. I'm only going to mention that he was functioning in the atmosphere of the Black Lives Matters movement. and that there had been so many attacks, the loss of African American lives from 2014 to 2016, that it's amazing that any individual is willing to have the courage to stand up to the system. Let me end it with this, that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar had stated during the 60s, during the struggles of the Olympics, just prior to it, he had said, I found out we don't catch hell we, uh, we don't catch hell because we aren't basketball stars or we don't have money. We catch hell because we are Black. And so Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, known as Ruel Sanders, certainly nailed it on the head that we have to ask ourselves, how is it that no matter what time period we're talking about, that we're still battling the same struggles? And it's not because there is some little twitch in the system. It's because it's the system itself. Uhuru.
Right back, and he just mentioned a few different Black excellence, Black athletes that stood up and fought back. Uhuru. So once again, let's give a hand round of applause for Greg. Uhuru. And right now, second to the last person he left off with, I want to bring our international president to come up and speak more about that individual. Uhuru. Uhuru.
Uhuru comrades, hopefully y'all can hear me. So I'll be speaking on Colin Kaepernick. I think most people usually start with Colin Kaepernick with him taking a knee in 2016. Colin Kaepernick, for those of you who do not watch football, this sport of war, is a quarterback. He leads the offense, on the field. In 2013, he took his team, the San Francisco 49ers, to the Super Bowl to face the Baltimore Ravens. And I think the period of 2013 is also incredibly significant because the 2010s, as I began looking back, a lot was happening in the 2010s, early on, things like that. But yeah, immediately after that Super Bowl, the Chris Donor, situation had happened just immediately after. And the Eric Gardner, 2014, it happened that in 2014, you had the Freddie Gray. In 2015, Mike Brown had happened as well. Alton Sterling in 2016, just not too long before that first preseason game. And so a lot of things were shaping, Colin Kaepernick's consciousness, and as well as opening up this space where, some stance, had to be made. Anyways, I'll read that that during the 2016 preseason, Colin Kaepernick sat during the playing of the U.S. national anthem before the game as a protest against racial injustice, police brutality, and oppression in the country. And the following week and throughout the entire regular season, Colin Kaepernick kneeled during the anthem. He was also playing the game with socks depicting the police as pigs. And In fact, one of the police departments, the Berlin police departments, had tweeted that the image of the socks that Colin Kaepernick was wearing, they said that it was dehumanizing.
Well.
Yeah, and Colin Kaepernick had said that well, there are bodies in the streets and people are getting away with blame murder. And so, and anyways, the gesture kneeling before the national anthem became a global symbol of resistance and spurred widespread debate with other players joining him to protest injustice. And so the protest received highly polarized a reaction. If some of us remember during that period, with some praising and others denouncing, the actions resulted in widespread protest movement, which intensified in September 2017 after Donald John Trump said that NFL owners that NFL owners should fire players who protest during the national anthem. And so Colin Kaepernick had became a free agent after that season and was not signed to another team since. His career was short; it was 6 years, and he was a top a QB. Led the team, to a Super Bowl and stuff like that. But I think it's incredible to note that during this period, Africans were resisting. We don't just celebrate Black history as an integration to the system. We say that Black History Month should be renamed to African Liberation Month, where we get to salute those brave forces and Africans who had resisted this this system that's been imposed on us and things like that. It's also important to note that during this period in which Colin Kaepernick was kneeling down, the Uhuru movement was having the Black People's Grand Jury putting the police on trial for the murder that they commit on African people, specifically Mike Brown. Resistance was fueling here in St. Louis. That was you. That was the African community here in St. Louis who was was showing an incredible resistance. I think this the demand for Black community control of the police still continues up to this day, where we say that the U.S. military and police, they do not serve us. They are illegitimate. They are a colonial army that occupies our communities, and that they must withdraw immediately and replace with our own, people who we know that serve the community. But Black community control of the police, we should state and have control over who gets to serve in these positions, what security looks like in our communities, set their day-to-day policies and agenda and priorities. And so there isn't any mistake in things like that. But yeah, Uhuru, I do also want to end that even continuing up to this day, Africans are still looking for solutions. The most important thing happening in the world this year is the African People's Socialist Party International Plenary that is happening right here in St. Louis. It will occur on April 17th through the 19th, 3 full days, where we provide solutions and move the work forward. It's happening here in St. Louis, and all of the Africans and the different forces who are going to be converging here in St. Louis, we should give them a welcome that St. Louis can only give. Right on. So we need you. We started putting up posters. We started doing outreach for the plenary. There, you can find these cards in the back, and as well as the Black Community Control of the Police flyers, which we started putting up in the community as well. But please do help us get the word out.
Come on now, you can do better than that. That's our international president. Come on, let's give him a round of applause. Uhuru, unfortunately, because the news haven't spoke about him and because his career was short, a lot of folks forgot about him. So thank you, and Gregory, thank you for putting this up on game. Uhuru. Well, a couple of things before we move forward. I want to give a round of applause for that baby back there preaching. Man, she got that good on energy, man. Yeah, Uhuru. Fist up, fight back. Uhuru. That's why we have to have liberation in our time, lifetime for the beautiful future like that. Uhuru. And we know because of the name itself, New England Patriots, the chairman say he going against them. He rooting for Seattle Seahawks, and if Seattle Seahawks win, he going auto piece for all of us, right? I don't believe that. He don't believe that. But no, before I open up for discussion, I kind of wish our comrade would have spoke about Paul Robeson, you know, Uhuru, because our chairman, he got me hip to the, I've been to the individual, but he got me hip to the singer. And what song did he get me hip to? Come on, I know you remember. The St. Louis Blues. We was over, it was me, Malika, and him. We was on the way to Illinois to catch a flight out of town. And yeah, he played the St. Louis Blues for me. But to be quite quick with Paul, he was an interesting fella. You know, he was a bright among his peers. He graduated with honors. He graduated with a high IQ. I wish I had the stuff down, so I'm going off memory because I thought muscle memory because I thought one of our comrades going to speak on him. But one thing I love about this individual that he was a fierce fighter. He started off football. He had a scholarship and he played football as in college. And then when he graduated college, he played briefly in the NFL. But during this individual, I call Paul, Uncle Paul, career, he was a fine singer, a fine actor, should I say? And that went beyond his, you know, his football skills. But within the midst of all that, you know, he was also a lawyer. That's why he went to end up having a scholarship to go to college to get his law degree. And he practiced law for a while until he realized that the type of racist system that he was operating within. But if you look at Paul, and like I said, I kind of like Paul, you know, because I'm biased. You know, St. Louis Blues. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he made something about St. Louis. Don't worry about it. Y'all be all right. Maybe somebody will make a song about Georgia. Somebody did make a song about Georgia. But that being said, this fella, some folks will water down their integrity. Some folks will sell a soul just to make it or be accepted by the masses. But one thing I like about Paul, every turn where he got shut down, he still prevailed. But why did they shut him down? Of his fierceness, for his fierce fight for his community, the Black community, the African community. You know, when he was a singer and when he was a actor after his football career, you know, he was good and prosperous up until he spoke about UNI issues. And then when he spoke about UNI issues, they turned around and stopped him from performing here in America and stopped him from actually seeking movie scripts, etc. So he said, no, that's all right. So he went overseas and spoke and did performance over there. But when they realized that they couldn't stop him here and he was prospering over there, they State Department stopped him from traveling when they took his passport. You know, but they didn't stop him. So he couldn't sing, he couldn't play football, he couldn't act, you know. And they tried to censor him by telling him he couldn't speak out. But guess what? He still having radio interviews, if you will, you know? But one thing I like about this guy, that some folks were being compromised and sold their soul when they realized that they couldn't be accepted in the walk that they want to be. But just like Kaepernick, he didn't allow that to change his integrity up, who he was essentially. And I remember, and I'm going to end with this and open up for discussion. I remember when the Senate decided to question him. What's wrong with you, man? What's wrong with you? I mean, you still going. You don't got the point where since you fears that since you got this boldness about Africa, go back. Go back to Africa. And he simply said, well, my moms and my parents were slaves here. And I'm paraphrasing it, but my parents was slaves here. My ancestry chored in the labor fields. I don't care how much they deny me, Mom. I'm claiming parts of that. I'm claiming parts of that. That's my home. That's why I refuse to go back, would not go to Africa, because this is my home. I love Paul's response, but I'm gonna go deeper in it. Africa is our home, but because we live here, we have to tear down this colonial system so the folks who refuse to go back home can have a joyous life here. But we cannot have a prosperous life as long as this structural system, as long as this capitalistic system is still standing. Uhuru, the floor is open.
Right, Uhuru. I want to really appreciate the, hearing about Black athletes. And there's another one that comes to mind because, Muhammad Ali.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
He sacrificed his career. Yeah. Because he said, I'm not gonna go fight for the US government. Yeah. Ain't no Viet Cong ever called me nigga, is what he said. And quite a few Black athletes sacrificed their careers and their futures because they said, no, I am not going to stand by and not say nothing, not do nothing. And unfortunately, with the type of contracts that they come up with athletes today, these multi-million-dollar contracts, these carrots that they dangle in front of them, and they don't want to have to vote. But they see. And a lot of them come from the hood. A lot of them came from the hood. They see what's going on. They see what continues to go on, and they won't do anything about it. And I really feel that these athletes have to have some kind of responsibility to the community that they came from. Because if it wasn't from the community, they wouldn't even be where they're at.
Amen.
So I just want to say that.
Well said, Sophie. Okay.
I just want to know what happened to Kurt Flood. Did he go to Philly or did he stay where he was?
Conrad?
Did not go to Philly.
She said he did not go to Philly.
Okay, he did not go.
He did not go to Philly.
Okay, thank you.
Uhuru. Okay, before we move on to the part of the agenda I know we all been waiting for, I just want to give a quick shout out to our guest of the day, our visitor of the day, Uhuru Conrad. How you doing? All right now. Hope to see more of you. Hope to see more of you. Well, this is the time of the hour, the time of the day we all been waiting for. So let's put our hands together for Chairman Amalia Shatella. As he comes to the mic and deliver the political report. Fist up! Fist up! Right back.
Uhuru, comrades, I want to express my appreciation to you, Comrade Westbrook, and to all of you who participated up to now in this history recount. I think it's extremely important we take up this issue of African history. The only reason we talk about an African history, even a Black Liberation Month, is because we are enslaved. Otherwise, we just have our history and it's just be history, just like the white people have history and don't have to give it a certain kind of characterization. The fact is that our presence as colonized subjects means that there's always a process in place to erase us. And so this is a form of resistance to say we are here. And so, I mean, that's the thing that gives it significance. Otherwise, we are African people. We have, not only do we have history, we are the origin of history.
Yeah.
There was no history before African people. And I say that literally, without any kind of hesitation, because history is something that is a human endeavor. It's part of the process that is a consequence of human beings being engaged in the process of creating and recreating human life. And what human life existed first on the planet Earth? African human life. And so would be no history if there were no African history. And that's what I mean by that. Also, this issue of sports and athletes as it relates to history. I'm really glad that you took this on. You've impacted the presentation that I'm prepared to make with that, because sports is more than just people out doing things, or it has become that. There are natural abilities that human beings have, and some of them train to be great at what it is that they do in terms of athletics. And we live, Comrade Gregory sort of suggested when he talked about the industrial societies and stuff like that. He's talking about the emergence of capitalism, where everything is for sale. There's everything. There's nothing that's not for sale in a capitalist society. And a problem that the rulers had is that sports was one of those things that Africans were permitted to participate in under colonial domination, not just here, but throughout the world. In fact, we were a form of entertainment for white people. We were the gladiators, more or less, that people could come and white people could come, the colonizers could come and enjoy. But we were extraordinarily good at it. And we were good at it in part because it was the only thing that we were permitted to do. And also we were good at it because we were good at it.
Right.
So the sports thing is really so significant. When you look at Olympics and things like that, did you know that there was a time, I don't know if they've ever gotten rid of the notion, where they said they were not going to allow Africans from Kenya and possibly Ethiopia to participate in the Olympics. They actually considered finding a way to ban Africans from Kenya and Ethiopia from participating because we're going to win it.
Yeah.
We're going to win it every time. Not only are we going to win first place, second, third, fourth, all the way down the line. That's how it was. And so there was actual discussions about that. And I'm glad to hear that Peter Norman from Australia, who was up on that platform during the Olympics, had some recognition of what was happening to Black people in Australia. Because in Australia, it was continues to be very vicious war that's made against Black people there. That's how it's a settler colony. Mm-hmm. And Peter himself is there as a consequence of being a settler, colonizer. And this is not something that I'm saying to as a pejorative. It's just a historical fact. That's who he was. If a white person was in Australia, believe me, he came to Australia as a settler, as a colonizer. And it's been bad how they've treated us. One of the sports in Australia was killing Black people by white people. I mean, actually hunting African people like animals, literally, etc. And the whole issue of sports is really complex, the way the colonizers have made it, because, for example, we didn't mention Jack Johnson. Jack Johnson is the reason that it took years and years before they would ever allow another Black man to contend for the heavyweight boxing championship in this country. Because Johnson, not only would Johnson beat him up, he talked stuff to him while he was beating him. And white people would come to watch Jack Johnson fight because they wanted to kill him. I mean, they were almost race riots. And Johnson had a proclivity for white women. And he always had white women with him during a time where you know, they were killing black people for even looking at white women. Right. And so Johnson was ferocious fighters. And you know, there's a Jack London Square in Oakland, California. And people don't know who Jack London is. Most people, you know, he was a really successful writer, author, etc. But he was, and he's held up, you know. There's a Jack London, I mentioned Jack London Square, but he's the one who coined the term Great White Hope, because that's when they tricked Jim Jeffries, who had been the boxing champion, white guy, for a while, to come out of retirement to fight Jack Johnson. You are the Great White Hope. You are, you know, etc. And Jeffries was dumb enough to do it. They swelled up his head. He got in the ring with Jack Johnson, and Jack Johnson would beat him and talk stuff to him all the time. He was whooping him. Oh, Mr. Jeff, I thought you could hit harder than that. And I'm gonna hit you on the side of the head this time, and just danced around him and beat him up so badly that they actually forced him out of the country. Jack Johnson had to leave the country, but they wouldn't let him fight anymore in this country. He had to leave the country. And the last fight he had, one of the last fights, I think, was in Cuba. And he threw a fight in Cuba so he can come back to the United States. And that's why for years and years afterward, they couldn't get a black heavyweight champion or anybody to fight for the championship. And of course, they made a mistake, and they did allow Cassius Clay to fight. And Cassius Clay was similar to Jack Johnson in terms of his proclivity and also to stand up for black people. Now, Johnson made it clear, I'm nobody's hero. I'm not the representative of African people, but he was. And and then it's worth mentioning, you see, it's worth mentioning, then I'm gonna just stop, that when we went to trial, the Uhuru 3, how the political thing runs into the athletics. Political black people who would kick white people's asses. If you want to see what African people were doing when Joe Louis was fighting, I mean, the whole city stopped, especially if he was fighting white guys. And all the black community, you could pass through the African community, you could hear radios, all listening to Joe Louis fighting. And so, I mean, this is part of the political aspect of it. And then we found this situation where they charged me, Penny Hess, and Jesse Neville with promoting with fighting for Russians during the Olympics. Now, how the hell we do that? You know, that somehow we were working for Russians because we said the Russians ought to be able to fight, to play, to participate in the Olympics. And so that made us servants of Russia. That was one of the things that made us servants of Russia. So I wanted to mention that. And Jackie Robinson was a great athlete, but he wasn't the best that came from the African community. There was a guy named Josh Gibson. Look up Josh Gibson. They said Josh Gibson could hit a ball so hard that it disappeared. And they would not allow Josh Gibson to come into the white people's league because of Babe Ruth, because he would have destroyed the record, and did in the Negro League. Look at Josh Gibson's and see what his record is. And I just wanted to mention that. So those things play factors. And when you look at what was happening during the 1960s, when they took this incredible stance at the Olympics, the revolutionary struggle happened, black people all around the world. It wasn't just here. Revolution was the main trend in the entire world. It wasn't just apartheid in South Africa. It was people in Vietnam. It was people in Cuba who had made revolution in 1959. It was people, all black people all around the world. And I'm saying black in the generic term, the way Malcolm X used to talk about black people all around the world who had risen up and were fighting for our freedom and was challenging, destroying the notion of the superiority and supremacy of white people. And so they changed the rules every time they had to or could to undermine the ability. What's the name of this sister? This extraordinary ice skater. Anybody ever see this ice skater? They changed the rules. This woman did this remarkable flip from one leg, etc., come down on one leg, and they said they changed the rules. There's what African ice skaters, they changed the rule of African ice skaters. And why? Because Africans, generally speaking, weren't ice skating. We didn't have ice rinks, skating rinks in our communities, etc. And Africans came in on the scene, destroying everything that they were talking about, doing stuff that was supposed to be impossible. Africans didn't play tennis. Right. We have tennis courts in our communities and stuff like that. And here comes Serena and others, who destroyed all of the records and what have you. Yeah. So this is testimony of the fears. This is one of the reasons that fear get off our backs and allow us to unleash the natural human beings that we are, and you can't compete with us. Yeah. You have to change the rules. You have to say that they're working for Russians. Yeah. You have to do all kinds of stuff to keep us from being successful, because you are the ones who make the rules. Yeah. And you make the rules to serve yourself. Yeah. And when they no longer serve you, you change the rules. So I just wanted to say those things. So I'm going to now, I think I have a few minutes left. I hope so, because what I want to do is really introduce you to more of the political report that I'm bringing to the plenary. That's going to be happening here in St. Louis, April 17th, 18th, and 19th. It's going to be one of the most important events. Let me also stop. I see my babies are here, and I just want to salute the children. Right on. I just want to salute the children. I want to salute the baby back there who's disrupting everything she can. Salute the children, just magnificent. I mean, I wish I'd had an opportunity to have had this experience when I was a child, as they are. And then my baby been not feeling too well, and she's back on the scene now, and I'm so happy to see Nova. And she knows I'm so happy. I've been smitten by Nova since I met her. And I know it's not only a relief for me to see her, but I saw her brother, going through such turmoil, based on how she was feeling, and of course the mama as well. So it's really good to see the children, and I have so much love and appreciation for our children. And my wife claims that she always accuses me of liking these badass kids. and there's some truth to that, because it's the badass kids that challenges stuff, that won't tolerate things just as they are. You know what I mean? Who and they're the ones who the state is always colonized, always trying to tame, to try to bring down, to smash their spirits, to smash their curiosity and everything. Just act this way, act that way. And those badass kids don't do that. Yeah. And I just appreciate you so much. And I appreciate our children so much. I love you, love you, love you, love you. And everybody should just give the greatest kinds of support that's possible to our children. Uhuru. So we were reading last week, and we didn't get far. And but what we were talking about, in part, is how things are, the political temperature in the world and in this country at this moment. And we are talking about a desperate ruling class, a desperate system that's trying to maintain its control of the peoples of the world. A desperate system that is parasitic. Its success depends on its ability to control Black people and the other peoples around the world who have become for the last 600 years or so the host for this parasitic relationship that has been imposed on us at gunpoint. And I want to remind us of that because while people are capable of recognizing certain kinds of colonial injustices, Palestine and what have you, the fact is that this entity that we live under now is a settler colony. And if the white man was not invited here, nobody said, hey, any white people got nothing to do, come on over, anything like that. They came with guns, they stole the land, and then they made the laws that justified keeping the land. They went to Africa, they stole the people, and brought us here against our will. We fought tooth and nail to try not to be brought from Africa. So this is the reality that we are talking about. So we were talking about that and the nature of the system and how right now things are such that the system is acting in a very desperate way. They make laws and then break the laws. And this is really something when the system reaches a place where it cannot define its rule as just and permanent. It's in trouble. It's in trouble in its own head. The whole psychology, the psychosis, if you will, that comes to the people, they can't justify. They have to believe that the rule is just and that it's permanent. Because you can't commit the kinds of crimes that you commit against the people unless you think you're going to be here forever. And if you don't think it's permanent, then you have to be, you're really afraid, and that's what's happening, is that this sense of permanence is something that's being impacted by the peoples around the world who are fighting to take back our resources. And central to all of that is right here, where we are. And increasingly, they don't rely on what definitions of justice are. They change the definitions of what is just to suit their needs, but that's just in their own heads. That's a subjective thing. And there is what is subjective is what is in your head. What is objective is what is in the world. But when what is in your head does not meet the reality of what's in the world, then people try to often cart you off to places where you wear jackets with no sleeves. Or you face revolutionary struggles and you find yourself standing on the top of hotels with helicopters trying to come to rescue you to get you out of there like in Vietnam. So we were talking about that. And we were saying that the peculiar relationship that Africans have also with this country, that it's not unreasonable to suggest the possibility of mass lynchings of our people. Can't be unreasonable because they've done it before. And in fact, in many ways it happens today. They just don't call it lynchings, they call it courts. And they call it police and things like that. And you look at the data, the stats, and you can see that's exactly what it is. So we talked about that, and we're saying, in this political report, the reason we are talking about it here is people are going to be here from everywhere, and you're going to be on platforms where people are discussing this report. We'll be talking about it more and more and more and more, which is extremely important. And the thing that distinguishes us, some people, we have these discussions, people be in the room, they don't believe a damn thing we sing, except sometimes for the moment, because there's a feel-good line that may be in it. But the fact is that we play a fundamental role to how the world is unfolding. I mean, anyway, let me just go ahead and say. So I'm on page 5 here. I'm on the first full paragraph on page 5. Says we are talking about the kind of mass repression, brutality, and murder that is the political foundation of the existing social system that in its evolution has resulted in the extinction of whole peoples in the so-called Americas. Their people don't exist anymore as a consequence of this process that they've done. It is the foundation of the colonial mode of production, which when it intrudes into the lives of the colonizers is characterized as quote unquote fascism and genocide. These political terms came into existence simultaneously as anomalies within the colonizers' presumptive democratic society. Within the US alone, thousands of African men, women, and children were murdered since the formal end of colonial slavery, most often with the participation of gawking, grinning, murderous colonizers, men, women, and children who often competed with each other to acquire their favorite body parts from the hanged, burned, and shot to pieces Black corpses. These were gory, celebratory occasions. However, it was not new to the relationship of Africans to the European colonization of Africa and our people that would become the mode of production defining the process of existence for most of the world, liberating what would become Europe from feudal oppression, poverty, and ignorance through plunging the rest of us into poverty and powerlessness. You get to the source of the contradiction. You don't hear this discussion, any other meetings, any other groups you with, you don't hear this discussion. You don't hear political reports that's taken to masses of the people so to be discussed and people come forward with resolutions and adopt the political report as their own. So we see the police kill somebody over here, somebody in the jail, woman just gets killed. Wow, that's another thing. Go out and have a demonstration around it. You can protest it. I'm not saying don't protest it, but I'm saying that it's more than that. If you don't understand the nature of this beast that we're dealing with, you'll be protesting your ass off. You'll be protesting, and you can have a future as long as they allow you to protest. That's what you'll be doing. So, Karl Marx recognized this when describing what he labeled the advent of capitalist white power as primitive accumulation of capital. This is what Marx said. The discovery of gold and silver in America, the extirpation, enslavement, and entombment in mines of the aboriginal population, talking about the indigenous people, the beginning of the conquest and looting of the East Indies, talking about India and that area, the turning of Africa into a warren for the commercial hunting of Black skins, signalized the rosy dawn of the era of capitalist production. These idyllic proceedings are the chief momenta of primitive accumulation. That's what he called primitive accumulation. In other words, mass murder and repression of Africans and the colonized are part of the moral and social fabric of the system, the colonial mode of production. In his book, A History of Africa, Hosea Jaffe provides examples of the assault on Africa by colonialists that would create Europe, establish its superstructure, which is like the legal system, customs, ideology, and define it as a liberal democracy. And here's what Jaffe said. He said the Gore curator and Leopold Senghor, who was the first president of Senegal, put the total number of Africans murdered by European slavers at 200 million. The death toll was about 1 in every 3 of the 600 million Africans who lived during those centuries of dark Europe in Africa. The death toll was created by the motive of the slave traffic, the long journey to the coast, the violent seizure of slaves from tribes and societies by chiefs chiefs collaborating with the Europeans, the lack of food, and the long voyage. Just think of this. They killed 1 out of every 3 living Africans in the world to create this process, to create this system. It's something that is deeply ingrained in the consciousness of the colonizers. It's deeply ingrained in the country. And when I was growing up, I used to be struck when I was learning a little bit of stuff, how it seemed that the way people succeeded was through oppressing other people. You don't succeed except you taking something from somebody else. That's the social system that was born of the capture, enslavement of African people in Africa and everywhere else. Obviously, this predates fascism and the accepted 1948 legal definition of genocide by the United Nations that accompanied both fascism and genocide, when the murder of European Jews within a system created and sustained by colonialism briefly normalized itself within Europe, within a Europe, itself born of white power, born as white power on the slaughter and indescribable repression of the colonized of Africa, Asia, and what came to be known as the Americas. One of the difficulties we have is actually believing that the system will do to us what it does. You might believe it. Yeah, you made that up. Nobody believes it because it's so horrendous. It's almost indescribable, the stuff that's happened to us. I mean, they come to this land that they call the Americas now. There are no horses here. The indigenous people had no horses. So they want to get someplace. How did they get there? They jumped on the back, literally jumped on the back and rode an indigenous person, rode a so-called Indian to get where they wanted to go. They were raped little Indian girls, 10 years old. This was normal. They trained dogs to eviscerate, that is, to tear out the intestines of the indigenous. They were trained to do that. So, I mean, it's hard to even believe the kind of stuff is that humans are capable of doing this. This is why when Elijah Muhammad, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the Nation of Islam, came up and said that the white man is the devil. Well, if you were religious, that made sense. Because human beings don't do that kind of stuff. But you don't have to be a devil either, because once you're a devil, then, how do you deal with that? Except, I guess you can bomb with Bibles or some other. But the thing is that it was really important at the time. Of course, Muhammad comes out of the Garvey movement and characterized the efforts to organize African people as organizing African people into a nation, even if it was the Nation of Islam. It was recapturing our identity, as struggling to recapture our identity, because we are a nation. And but once they make you a race, you lose your national identity. And so here you are, some kind of race that doesn't even exist. There's no historical basis for the concept of race. Anyway, okay, so currently the U.S. functioning in its capacity as colonial hegemon is facilitating and overseeing the slaughter of thousands of Palestinians by its white nationalist, illegitimate proxy, Israel. In the wake of the genocidal assault by the US-backed settler state of Israel following the 2023 heroic uprising of the Palestinian people struggling for their own land, this year opened with further imperialist violence in a brutal military assault on Venezuela by the US colonial hegemon. This was a move that saw condemnation by the majority of the world, including a modicum of some of the US staunchest allies. On January 3rd, the US attacked the sovereign elected Bolivarian government of Venezuela, kidnapping its president Nicolas Maduro and his wife, the first combatant Celia Flores. The US blindfolded and shackled them as they abducted the two to the United States, putting them on mock trial in New York federal court, based on the blatant calls from the Trump administration for control of Venezuelan oil, and in blatant violation of international and US constitutional law. only reason, I mean, that this can, if you listen to news reports, whatever your sources are, generally speaking, there is even if they say they don't like what Trump happened, or they hint they don't like it, they act like there's something valid about the United States taking people's oil. By taking the people's country, taking the people's oil, because after all, they were friends with Cuba, and the Russians they can be friends with who the hell they want to be friends with. Who are you? Who is the white man to say who can be my friend? Who can be there? Who is the white man to make that kind of determination for us? You understand? And but there's a presumption, generally speaking, in the white world, that white people, the white authorities should have that right to tell Cubans who they could associate with, to tell Venezuelans they can't be friends to Russians or anybody else like that. In fact, they require that their enemy is our enemy. And sometimes their enemy is their enemy because their enemy supports us.
Right.
You understand? So these colonial acts to overthrow the legitimate government of Venezuela, including bombing fishing boats, murdering scores of Venezuelan and Trinidadian fishermen in the Caribbean coast with high-tech bombing, seizing tankers and stealing their oil. Thousands of U.S. troops, some ensconced on the world's largest carrier ship in the U.S. arsenal, a ship based in the U.S. colony of Puerto Rico, engaged in psychological warfare, terrorizing the population in the face of the ongoing illegal U.S. blockade. And according to international law, it's illegal what they're doing. Here are excerpts from my emergency address to the African nation on the Burning Spear TV channel on the day of the attacks, as well as from the Uhuru movement rally the following Sunday, addressing this brutal situation. And I'm quoting now. The colonial invasion of Venezuela and abduction of Nicolas Maduro and Celia Flores is part of a historical trajectory. Venezuela, as we now know it, like most of the so-called Americas, did not exist until Africa was attacked and African people were kidnapped in the process, initiated by Portugal some 600 years ago, developing for the first time in history a single world economy that connected all of us together, a colonial mode of production. There was no such thing as Venezuela. It was created during this process of coming off slavery and forcibly dispersing African people around in various places around the world. Thank you. Okay. Okay, when I spoke at the Oxford Union in 2019, I opened my presentation by stating, I cannot stand before this august body without prefacing my statement in defense of closer unity of Africa, without stating first my unconditional solidarity with President Maduro and the government and people of Venezuela who are currently under savage attack by the declining world hegemon of the United States. So this is 2019. On January 3rd, 2026, US President Donald John Trump held a press conference at his Mar-a-Lago palace and stated that the US had cut off the lights in Caracas, had deployed 150 military aircraft to attack the country. This followed months of US bombing of Venezuela fishing boats in the Caribbean, murdering over 115 people. Trump stated that the US plans to, quote unquote, run the country, openly saying that he plans to send US oil companies into Venezuela to take Venezuelan oil and make lots of money. We've experienced this. We've experienced it when they attacked us. They shut down our phones so that we couldn't communicate with each other. They got that kind of technology. That's what their surveillance and technology has developed around, essentially controlling the colonized peoples of the world. Venezuelan journalists we have spoken to brought attention to the fact that during his press conference, the U.S. president made several statements declaring the intent to take Venezuelan oil. Not once during the press conference did he claim murderous colonial attack on the country had anything to do with an intent to bring democracy to the country. The U.S. propaganda initially made prior to January 3rd to justify preparation to violate international and U.S. law to attack the country. The U.S. brags about the advanced technology they deployed to capture Maduro and Flores. Numerous U.S. spy agencies, including the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, provided assistance to the U.S. military to wage this vicious attack. NGA,
Yep,
right down the street,
yep.
where black politicians here held, when they first opened it, talking about how many jobs it was going to provide for Negroes, which is a fallacy in the first place, which is a lie. But even if it were providing jobs for us to participate in, like Buffalo Soldiers.
Yep.
Yeah, we work for the white man to hunt down the Indians and kill them, etc. And we celebrate the Buffalo Soldiers. Listen to Bob Marley. You understand what I'm saying? But Buffalo Soldiers worked for our oppressor. How many people here ever see the movie Buck and the Preacher?
Yep.
Okay, if you haven't seen it, Google it. It's an interesting and I think good movie. Okay, all of the technology in this country and most of the colonial world is designed to steal the people's resources, to maintain a social system of brutality, murder, and indignities imposed on the people all the time, even as the colonizers sometimes seem to stand far away from it and hold themselves up as the protectors of dignity and humanity. The kidnapped President Maduro and Flores were dragged before a bogus arraignment in a Manhattan federal court on January 5th, 2026. When making a statement, President Maduro correctly identified himself as a prisoner of war and the legitimate president of Venezuela. When we look at the charges they have brought against President Maduro and his wife, we understand them the same way we understand the charges they made against the Uhuru 3, against the African People's Socialist Party and me. They are colonial charges created to give a cover of law for a political determination that the colonial ruling class has made in how they want to maintain their parasitic stranglehold on the world. So I'm reading this now, and people are capturing this and seeing this on, various social media platforms. So, any agent in the audience, you can put down your notebooks because it's being captured otherwise. The U.S. government is using the old colonialist trope that they are fighting against crime to justify their attack on Venezuela, to explain why they did not go to Congress for approval of a declaration of war by the United States as required by the Constitution. The Trump administration claims the invasion of Venezuela was not war. It was a police action only used in military force to effect an arrest, as they say, of an indicted criminal. This is no different from what the colonizers have always done to provide a cover for their counterinsurgency war against African people in the United States and around the world. When SWAT teams invade African communities in the United States on a regular basis, including the July 29, 2022, when they used flashbang grenades, armored vehicles, and assault rifles to attack my home, where my wife and I were sleeping, it was under the guise of fighting against crime. All people who are not colonizers, not colonizer whites, are presumed to be criminals in the minds of many whites. There's a presumption there. Yeah. And that's not illogical. If we are not yet actually arrested, it is because we are simply unindicted co-conspirators. We must remember, when I say it's not unreasonable. The fact is, the colonizer steals everything we got. And then they make a law against us taking it back. And so you become criminal by virtue of trying to rescue yourself from this thing they've locked us into. This is the basis of the law, the relationship we have with the colonizers. We must remember, it was the Democratic Party's Joseph Biden who authored the Omnibus Crime Bill. It was William Jefferson Clinton who won his presidency on the promise to the settler population that he would deploy 100,000 police on the streets of this country, explicitly advancing a public policy of police containment of the domestically colonized African population. Clinton is the one y'all said was the first black president because he played saxophone. He's also the one who was the Southern cracker, and I use that term deliberately. He was called Slick Willie in Arkansas, where his political career was created. I use it deliberately because he was the needed person who broke through Nixon's Southern strategy that denied, after his election, any president to be elected in the South. They had other people elected, but no president. And so Clinton broke through that. He was this Southern cracker. He was Slick Willie. He did all kinds of horrible things. We don't have enough time to go through the stuff that Clinton did. So under yeah, we don't want to see all the stuff Clinton did. Under a government and legal system that protects the colonial mode of production, anything that approximates resistance to colonialism will be handled with brutality, which they will justify as enforcement of the law. The U.S. likes to brag about being a country based on the rule of law, and that's not absolutely untrue. Slavery was legal. The colonizer makes the law and breaks the law anytime they want to. And so, they put Nat Turner on trial. 1831, Nat Turner led a revolutionary movement in the Tidewater area of Virginia, following the call that was made by Africans in Haiti. Get to Haiti and any enslaved person and you're free. And so they put him on trial. His slogan was not hands up, don't shoot. His slogan was strike at night and spare no one. Yeah. And so they had a magnificent uprising. And so that uprising was defeated by a snitch. And when he was finally captured, they put him on trial. Here's the thing that I don't know how many people have considered. He was convicted. He said they found him guilty. He said, I don't feel guilty. But if in fact he had been found innocent, would he have been free? Would he have been free? He still lived under slavery, didn't he? Right. And going to trial for a colonized person, like we were found not guilty on doing what they said we actually did, but we ain't free. In fact, we were fighting for freedom, not to, et cetera. So when they use National Guard troops against African people in Washington, D.C., Chicago, and New Orleans, they say they are doing it to fight against crime. Pete Hegseth, who is over the Department of War, as they've correctly renamed it, and Donald John Trump talk about using federal troops to train in our communities within the United States as part of the process of fighting against crime. As usual, this is an instance of thief yelling, "Stop thief." The US government claims that the Venezuelan people, quote unquote, stole our oil. What they mean is that the Venezuelan people took their own oil back from the US, colonial capitalist exploiters. This is how the whole colonial project works. They make the law and you break the law when you try to take back what belongs to you. Many people don't know it, but Venezuela owned the company Citgo. You see the six most stations here. Well, they were giving all gasoline at reduced prices based on zip codes where a majority of African people live. They cut down the cost of oil, of gasoline, petroleum in Harlem and various other places where we live. This is what the Venezuelan government did. You won't get that coming from this regime. Trump had placed a $50 million bounty on Maduro. But before that, Biden had put a $25 million bounty on him. In many ways, you can say that Trump is Biden on steroids. The fact is, we're looking at colonialism. There is no such thing as a good colonialism or a good colonizer. Colonialism is colonialism. It's a social system that we are struggling against. There are going to be protests, and we believe we should support these protests. But we say that instead of only protesting the world as it is, our priority must be building the world that we want. That's why, that's what we do with the African People's Socialist Party. We shouldn't be taking off strategic tasks with mere protests. We have to double down and build the African People's Socialist Party. We have to double down and build the economic development programs that negate the power of the colonizers in our own community. If we have our own capacity to feed, clothe, and house ourselves, it impacts all of the industries that make themselves rich of having crippled us and our capacity to do that. The whole social system requires the appearance of dependency of African and other colonized people. That's the significance of the Black Power Blueprint. For whatever may be missed about that, that's the significance of Black Power Blueprint. Building our own capacity and fighting like hell to make it happen, because there are going to be all kinds of attempts to prevent that from being successful. We have to be a self-governing, self-determining people. We cannot surrender to an assumption of the permanence of this relationship that we have with the colonizer, where the most you can do is protest how it treats you, where the movement is everything and the revolution is nothing. We cannot condemn our children to live like this forever. And revolution is not simply about destroying, it's about building the future. We have to have the power in the hands of the people. That's the thing that we are fighting for. We cannot base our future on a perennial protest of colonialism doing what colonialism does. The bigger problem for Venezuela is not the lack of resources or preparation or the capacity of its government. It's the weakness of the movement against colonialism here in the United States that would allow this government to be able to move around without having to protect its own ass. We have to go ahead and build our freedom. So, you know, I'm going to leave it here, but one of the things that I want Africans here to be aware of is that the Office of the Deputy Chair has built this program where we know about most of the Black Power Blueprint institutions, but built this program called Reparations, how's it? RIC, Reparation Investment Company, where we've been buying up properties, and people can invest in these properties. You can invest in the properties, become part owners of the properties, and you will be able to receive interest on your investment. I mean, there are people who've already invested, you know, maybe a couple of $100,000 already in these properties. And you can do that. And I really want Africans to do that, to be able to become owners, part owners of the property here, because the slumlords, the thieves, instead of own every damn thing. And this is something that's owned by the African working class. This project I'm talking about is owned by the African working class. And so I want people to be aware of that. You can buy into it. You can buy your own stake in this properties in this company that's been created. So I'm going to stop now. I've read a little bit because I've talked too much before beginning the process of reading. But you know, this subject of the athletes and African history is really involved, like everything that we look at, everything we're confronted with that's so deeply. Africans are everywhere in every aspect of development, whether it's sports, whether it's any forms of culture, whether it's science, etc. Africans were not kidnapped just for our labor. They stole technology from us. We're the ones who taught them how to grow rice. We're the ones who even, you know, some of the liquor companies, corporations, big, well-known, were based on stuff that African people had created. We're the ones who did that. And so it wasn't just labor, it was technology, it was genius, it was culture, it was everything. Then they rebranded, you know, and then they tell us we're supposed to be happy because George Washington Carver, they said, made peanut butter, which is not exactly true because peanut butter has been something that Africans have been using. Peanuts have been something that goes back hundreds and hundreds of years in terms of African foods, etc. But even while they want to give us that, they don't tell us that George Washington Carver invented peanut butter and Jiffy and Peter Pan owned it. You understand? We don't own anything. So I just wanted to make those statements, and I don't know what kind of time we've got and what we can do within the time frame that we have left. But I'm really hoping two things. One, register now for the plenary. You can go to, what is it? APSP plenary.org, APSP-plenary.org. We really want you to do that now so that we can prepare for your presence, you know, food, places, and stuff like that, childcare, etc. And then, so that would be really important for everybody to do. And there was something else I was going to mention, but we'll let that suffice for the time being. And just want to welcome back our children and my baby. Yeah, she's going to come up and seduce me. Uhuru. Uhuru.
I've been opened up in for discussion in a quick second. Uhuru. So I want to give another round of applause for our professor. Uhuru. And I'm sorry, yeah, I would do that now. Let's go and open up for a discussion, for a brief discussion for 5 minutes. So I see 2, maybe 3 at the most people. Uhuru. Let's go and do that now.
I wanted to ask if, I don't know if this mic is, can you hear me? Thank you, sure, people of America, appreciate you. I don't know, being a native St. Louis, and if anybody remembers Liz Brown.
Yes,
Yes.
I met Liz Brown.
Yes.
Splendid.
Liz Brown was an attorney who had a radio talk show.
Yep.
And she used to always say, as a lawyer, the first thing you have to remember is that there are no rules. And she said that based on the fact that all that chairman has said here, how they changed them. That's concrete, especially if it don't work for Leo.
Yeah.
One female athlete, and I'm sorry I missed your beautiful presentation.
Yes. Say who she is.
Coco Ruff, I'm not sure if I
Yes.
get her name right.
Yes. The
And the
tennis.
abuse that she suffered.
Yes.
On camera. But one thing she did that's classic for Black people is the grace and the character for which she handled that and dismissed it and kept on walking and saying that, you know what, she don't make my paycheck, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You know, and on the backs of what you're saying about supporting our children, and I'm leaving this open to anybody who's interested. I have a background in research and scholarships and getting camp opportunities for children. So if anybody's interested, this is the month to collect that money and get that scholarship, to get those opportunities, be they overnight camps or be they day camps. And what I encourage you to do is, first of all, find a partner for whatever child you may want to submit. Be it a cousin, a best friend, or whatever. They do better if they go in groups. Everybody needs to be at least age 7 before I would even consider getting something for them. And then the other thing is, they're day camps, not just overnight camps. I used to take kids to camp, but I don't do that anymore. My daughter's 31. All right, thank you.
Oh, Lord. I met Liz Brown some years ago. We invited her to something, it may have been in St. Petersburg, Florida, where she came. She's the person who told the story about how the colonizers would force Africans not to speak their language, force Africans to speak the language of the colonizer. And this was when they needed, Africans would not follow the Catholic Church. And they needed Africans who would lead them into the Catholic Church. And what they do was cut the head off a goat and tie that goat's head to the child who spoke his own language. And let this rotting goat head stay there, and it would be a lesson for him and all the others. And these are the Africans who they turned into priests, ultimately to lead other Africans into the Catholic Church. Uhuru.
I want to really appreciate the report. And you know, it's definitely highlighted just how desperate this system is. And I was just looking in online earlier today how the Los Angeles Police Department are now sending recruits to Israel to train. And they're doing it in such a way to where they're not even documenting everything that they're doing because it's being funded through private sources. So, you know, just to show you just the new level of depravity of this system.
Well, I just want to say that the Israelis have been training U.S. Cops for a long time now. And the other thing is that you say it's privately funded, but there's this thing they call some kind of police corporations, that every place, almost every city has one of these entities. And these take funds from major corporations who might even be local, Walmart, all kinds of corporations that actually effectively are hiring the cops to be servants of capital as opposed to any nonsense about them being servants of our communities. We have to do that ourselves.
Yeah.
Uhuru. So, you know, it's a
You know, sometimes you gotta give the chairman a pause, you know what I mean? Just in case he wanna come bless the mic again.
well, I do, just this, cause I don't know how, you know, I mentioned how my wife talks about my love for these badass children. But generally speaking, she's joking. Because these children, they play on my porch, they play in the yard, they play every place, and I don't protect space like that, you know. I don't. But I grew up with cousins and everybody who was always there. But it's an intrusion for some people, right? But anyway, it's a joke. I was saying about the badass kids.
I sure thought you was calling me bad. See, Uhuru. Quickly before we bring our first set of announcements, I want to take a page from our Conrad Emil. You know, he mentioned our fellas, but we know Black women must lead, African women must lead. So I'm glad and appreciate you mentioning our African woman. And I want to mention someone who's in our region and related to one of our comrades, and also came to the ribbon cutting of the basketball hoop, Olympic medalist, Jackie Jordan, of course, Jackie Jordan. So, yeah, we got a lot of history in our region. So, right on, for mention our Black women. Uhuru? Uhuru. So now, before we bring up our comrade for membership and resources, can we bring Penny Hess up for quick announcements? Uhuru?
Oh, I can come up here?
Yes.
Thank you.
Come up to the pulpit.
Uhuru, everybody. I just really want to salute Chairman Omali Shatella, my leadership, and what a great presentation. And the political report to the plenary is just, even that little part of it was so dynamic and informative. And I just want to say, first of all, that I am the chair of the African People's Solidarity Committee, the organization of white people formed by Chairman Omali Shatella and the Uhuru Movement, African People's Socialist Party, in 1976, with the job to go into the white community to organize other white people and to win reparations to African people and to, you know, build a mass movement of white people in solidarity. And it has been really an incredible journey to do that. I am one of the Uhuru Three, and hands off Uhuru, and I have the honor, and I want to salute also Deputy Chair Onizane Shatella and Secretary General Muwezi Odom, who is the chair of Hands Off Uhuru. And to say that Hands Off Uhuru is going to be, if we could put up our slide that I sent you, Kabula, is going to be showing this film in 2 weeks from yesterday called The Alabama Solution. And it is a film where it's a documentary, by the way. It was nominated for an Oscar, by the way. But the filmmakers gave Africans in prison phones to record the conditions that they faced in the Alabama prison system. And so this film is the imprisoned in the colonial prison system filming their own conditions, and it's very, very powerful. This film is showing all over at different places all over the US right now, but this is the only place that we will have the analysis of colonialism, of the conditions of African people as colonialism. So this is going to be a very, very special showing that is going to have an analysis and summation by Chairman Omali Shatella. It's going to be February 21st at the Jubilee Community Church, 4231 North Grand. It's just about a mile from here or less. And it will be at 2 p.m. in the afternoon. We'll be showing the film. There's no charge to get in. We'll be showing the film. And afterwards, there will be a panel discussion that will include Chairman Omali Shatella, Zaki Baruti, Zaki Baruti, and so I just want to say this quickly, that member of the African People's Socialist Party, Kobina Bantu Shango, who is in Huntsville, is related to one of the people one of the prisoners, Benno, Melvin Ray, and his cousin, that is his cousin. And Melvin, this wasn't in the movie, but he said that Melvin or Bennu was applying to be in the party, and that this is also where in the Alabama prison system is where Mufwindi Lake, who is referred to, but he's not really mentioned in it by name, but they talk about the older generation. And according to the history that Comrade Kobina has stated, is that it was Mufwindi Lake who brought the burning spear into the Alabama prison system back in the, what would that have been, in the 80s and 90s? And it politicized the whole prison system. And they had a movement called, I think it was called the Alabama Freedom Movement, and various things, Inmates for Action, that were organizing the prisons. And this is why there is this movie. So the party, the African People's Socialist Party, played a key role in that, there being able to be this Alabama prison system. So we're gonna be having Mrs. Clara Brooks, who is the sister of Melvin Ray, who is the cousin of Kobina. Kobina will be here, and also either the family of Mufwindi Lake, family members, or if they aren't able to travel here, then we'll have them like a Zoom, I'll link of them. And also we do want to find a little clip of Mufwindi Lake speaking at the first tribunal to African people in the 1980s, 1982 in Brooklyn, where he is talking about the conditions he faced in the Alabama prison system, where it would be, brutal, freezing cold winter, no heat whatsoever, and they would come in and take all of his clothes off, and only thing he had would be one piece of toilet paper, and he would put that on and pretend that he had a blanket on. Anyway, it's very, very powerful. This is going to be a really great event, so we want everybody to help build it. We're going to have flyers and posters starting, I think, early this coming week. So if people want to get them and get out, we'll have phone banking. We really want to fill that church and get, at least 100 or more people there. So Uhuru, we are winning, and looking forward to everybody being there on February 21st. At the Jubilee Community Church. Uhuru.
I will give you a quick quiz. What's February 21st, y'all?
African Martyrs Day.
African Martyrs Day. Uhuru. So right now,
Anniversary of the assassination.
anniversary of assassination of Malcolm X. They tried to assassinate him 7 days before the Valentine's Day, but unfortunately it was successful 7 days later. But right now, I have the pleasure to bring up our comrade, 4 feet, to bring us to membership and resources. Uhuru?
Fist up,
Fight back!
fist up,
Fight back!
Uhuru.
Uhuru.
First of all, I want to thank your chairman, my chairman, and the African People's Chairman for bringing us this important message that we have to be at the plenary, okay? But right now, our goal is $100. You online, we want you to get in this too, because the resources that we collect is transparent, and you're listening to us now through the Wi-Fi and all of the social media that costs resources. You're looking at our papers and our flyers that cost resources. In the room here, we have lights, electricity, well, that is lights. We got heating and cooling and water. All of these things cost resources. But most of all, every dollar you put in is a dollar for revolution.
That's right.
It is a dollar for your freedom and your family's freedom and our generation's freedom and all of our sisters and brothers' freedom. Every nickel, dime, and dollar. And with that, I will come back and let you know how much we will receive. But I want to tell you about, okay, let me tell you, first of all, if you're busy, you can use Cash App us at Cash App $INPDUM. It will also have IEC on the side of it. So that is the correct Cash App. We have npdum.org/donate if you want to donate to that entity with your credit card. We will take your dollars, your nickels, and your dimes. All right.
I have $15 that I will donate online. And if somebody else want to join me or challenge that, come on, put it down. We'll take it. All right. Now, if you want to become a member, that's even better because that means you are in for the fight, for the win, and for the freedom. You can go to join the International People Democratic Uhuru Movement with a George Jackson Desi Wood level, which is the membership is $5 annually. And that's for our brothers we just got through talking about that's incarcerated and our sisters and the children that they're taking for the pipeline. Oh, and girls too now. Don't get it twisted. It's not just the little boys. All right. It is a $5 membership so they can get the burning spear. When you get a membership for one of our brothers or sisters or children that's behind enemy lines, they will get a burning spear so they can see what's happening in the world that they're coming back to. You can get a Musa, a Bantu level membership, which is $10. And that's for our young men and women or older men and women that are unemployed or students in school. Yeah, older people can be students too. General membership is $25 a year. That's not a day, not a month, $25 a year. Now, I know if you got a cell phone, you pay more than $25 a month for that membership, but it will not get you free. Okay, well, you might get a message or two, but you got to be a member of the International People Democratic Uhuru Movement, the major organization for everyday people. If you, whatever level you're on, you can be unemployed, you can be going to the what you call those? Can't think of the name of it. Booster, $25. You become a member, and your membership is just as important, just as meaningful as any level on the spectrum of the International People Democratic Uhuru Movement, from lifetime down to unemployment. All right. So become a member. That's the best gift you can give yourself or anybody else that you know. If they have an opinion, if they have an issue, that's the one place as a member that you can voice it and have something done about it. But we don't do it for you. We show you how to take care of it yourself. All right? So if you got something that you want to work with and you got a voice to speak it, join the movement and do something about it. All right? With that being said, I will come back and tell you how much money we made. All right? Uhuru.
Right now, I think I also had the pleasure to bring up our other comrade, Sophia, to help bring us through these announcements. And soon follow after the announcements, she's gonna tell us what we have for Keramu. And after that, yeah, I wanna comrade to close it out today. Is that fine? Yeah, so follow you, our comrade gonna close us out. Uhuru? Okay. Come on up.
You have the sheet up there.
Yep. It's all good.
Hello, everyone. Uhuru. So you're watching us now live, streaming from the Burning Spear TV, the online voice of the International African Revolution. And if you are watching online, we ask that you click that like button as well as the subscribe button so that you can, and then if you see the bell notification as well, so you can get the notifications anytime we pop up. It helps with the algorithm for us to reach our broader audience. The Burning Spear TV also just launched its paid membership program, offering 20% off promo code for the Burning Spear store, where you can find books by the chairman, Omali Yeshitela, as well as other Burning Spear merchandise. The basic membership is $4.99 per month, and we encourage you to support the important platform by clicking the join button and signing up. In case you missed it, you can watch our historic September 25th annual Impedum Convention on the Burning Spear TV channel. Be sure to check out the dynamic presentation by Masamela Odom, Omali Yeshitela, Jesse Todd, and many more, as reports from Africa by Luwezi, Kanishi, and I'm sorry, say that again. Kinshasa, okay. And Tafari Magari, okay, and much, much more. So make sure you get your membership for $4.99, starting at $4.99 there on the Burning Spear TV.
Uhuru. Can't move that whole thing there, but the next announcement says Help Shambhala Uhuru Freedom Farm, which is our new Black community urban farm. They are now hiring for a master gardener and an assistant gardener. The African People's Education and Defense Fund is looking for experienced Black community gardeners to work as a master gardener and assistant gardener in our new urban farm on West Florissant. The Shambhala Uhuru Freedom Farm is an exciting expansion of the successful Gary Brooks Black Power Community Garden that many of you, certainly here in St. Louis, have participated in. It must be talking about me. And it is a continued part of our revitalization of the north side of St. Louis through all of the programs of the Black Power Group. This farm is expanding our community's access to fresh foods and is also partnering with Uhuru Bakery and Cafe to bring fresh, wholesome foods to our community. To apply or to read the job description, please go to tinyurl.com/Freedom Farm Job or scan the QR code on the screen. So people should be able to grasp that if you're online as well. And please make sure that you share this job opportunity with anyone that you think might be interested and or is qualified. So we're looking forward to, okay, and if you have any questions, you can always email us at volunteer@blackpowerblueprint.org. Again, if you have any questions, email us at volunteer@blackpowerblueprint.org. And of course, you can click the QR code there too to get information. Thank you.
Okay, so next up is our plenary by the African People's Socialist Party. This time till it's won, power in our own hands. And this is a conference you don't want to miss. We are trying to take away all of your barriers. So if you are in need of childcare, come on out. Feel like you can feel free to kind of participate in all of the activities that we have planned for you so that you can assist with the planning for what life looks like for Black people in your community. So we're asking everybody to come out for that. We want to get you registered as soon as possible. Get you registered for your meals, especially with the childcare and all of that type of stuff, so we can have that all planned out for you. When you get here, there'll be a bunch of dynamic topics. You've heard each week they've been talking about reading portions of the political report on the plenary. So as you can hear, there are a lot of things that relate to us in our neighborhoods that you want to have your voice and have a say in. So come on out for that. That is going to be April 17th through the 19th of 2026. but we're asking people to register as soon as possible so that we can get an accurate count as well as get everything prepared for you when you come into town.
Uhuru, yeah, right on. The plenary is incredibly important. As I said before, it's, it's. Yeah, as I said before, it's the most important thing happening this year. And that's because people are looking for answers, in terms of, how to deal with with the situations of today. This crisis of colonialism. And and as well as the fact that City Hall doesn't do anything for African people except for keeping us in the conditions that we've been in since forever. And so we have to be able to come together and set up our own agenda and how we move forward. And the African People's Social Party plenary that will be happening here in St. Louis, April 17th to 19th, 3 full days. We'll allow and provide for that to happen. So please,
How to register.
to register, go to APSP plenary.org. You can also on the site. So once you register, there's also information in terms of logistics and housing, and as well as outreach material. So you can help spread the word. There's a social media toolkit and things like that. But it's happening here in St. Louis, and I want everyone to be able to have the kind of welcome that only St. Louis can give, which is incredible. I've enjoyed it. I've experienced it. The whole world needs to experience it.
Okay, and next up we have our annual cadre school. We're asking all women who want to know more about political life or want to enhance their understanding of political life to register for the annual cadre school. Deadline for registration is going to be February 14th. So you have 1 week from, I believe that's today. It's today, the 18th or the 8th or the, but you have 1 week to register. So by the 14th, get registered for that so that you can participate in a dynamic study. It'll be a weekly study on Saturday mornings where you get the information. You'll have practical activities to participate in at the end of those. So get registered for that so you can gain a better understanding of political life, learn how to take on things so that you can lead with confidence and know things that you want to do as far as in political life and determine if that's something that is going to be right for you. So we ask that you register. You can go to annualuhuru.org and it will be held from February 28th through April 4th. So again, it'll be a weekly study. Each week will have a different topic that you'll participate in. I promise next week I will have all of those, a list of the topics that they're having for each of those weeks. And it's only $30 for members. And then if for non-members it's $60. But with that, if you decide that once you hear the presentations and the information that's presented through that, and you decide that you want to join the organization, your registration fee will be used for your annual membership at that point. So we ask all that are interested in the political life or just having a basic understanding of how this colonial system affects women and how women are affected within this system. We ask that you sign up so you can gain the information that you need in order to move forward. Now we're asking you to get your Burning Spear newspaper. You can get that for your own political information as well as form of a side hustle for those that remember the paper route jobs. You can have that where you're passing out political information, useful information, not some information that's been filtered through a Democratic or Republican lens, but information that's geared towards African people as a whole. And to get your subscription, you go to theburningspear.com/subscribe, but you can also get your bundles at theburningspear.store. And you can get a digital subscription or a paper subscription that's mailed to your home. or you can do both. So we're asking that you sign up for that so that you can kind of be aware and more, you start gaining that political understanding, because the more you're involved in a thing, the better you start to understand it. So as you read through the different articles, and it's not all just hardcore political information, but it's stuff that is useful information there as well. So we ask that you sign up for that as well. Then we're asking if you want to be a part of an interactive study in learning about African internationalism, the Uhuru movement, just a whole horde of things. We ask that you sign up for our RENDP studies. And you can register for that at tinyurl/RENDP studies. And sign up there. Those are held every Thursday at starting at 7 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. I don't know about Mountain Pacific and all of that, but we ask that you sign up and you'll be able to be on a call with, and you can do that virtually from your home. So you don't have to leave your home. You'll be in a call with those from all around the world, from those that may even be in your city. But you can, it's interactive where you can use the chat to sign up. You can check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/Impedum. But you'll also, if not there, is it Zoom or is Zoom? There's also a Zoom link if you sign up at the TinyURL code, and you'll receive a Zoom link so that you can log in there, or you can just go through Facebook and join there as well. So we're asking that everyone interested in understanding a little bit more and getting your questions answered, sign up for our RENDP studies held by our president, Emmanuel Macron. And then next up, we're pleading for your help to help us build the Sunday rallies, because as the chairman stated before, we have larger spaces that are available, and we want the space to be full of people who are working towards African freedom. And that's when we say Uhuru, we mean freedom. So we're asking for you to help us build, and not just building for us, but also helping to build yourself, because through that, you can gain new skills, whether it's that you want to learn how to organize, you can gain those skills. So going out and learning to organize the people to help build the rallies that way. If you want to help organize the food setup and all of that type of stuff, we're looking for people to do that. If you want to learn about audio visual, being able to conduct meetings, no matter where you are in the world, you can gain skills by signing up to learn about doing that type of stuff as well. So whatever your skills are, there is a space for you within the Uhuru movement and the Sunday rallies for you to get the experience that you need in order to build yourself, as well as building the Sunday rallies. And now, okay.
Well, so it can be up in flow. So it can be in flow, but we run out of time. She's gonna do curl move, you're gonna do the time, then he's gonna close it out, so it can be smooth.
And the next up we have.
Well, we gotta do outreach reports. So.
Well, Karamu is gonna be tacos and things like that. I will send out an email to everybody to get your input for next week, what you're able to provide for chili week. So we need a vegan chili, possibly a meat chili, or different things like that, and all the fixings that go with it, or whatever you decide you want to bring. And I'll bring 4 feet up to give you the closeout report, or not closeout, but the financial.
Okay, our goal was $100. We got $94.95. So we need a nickel and a nickel. We need a 505 to make our goal of a $100. So I got $1. You got 5? Okay, and I got 5 cents. So we made our goal of $100. $100. Uhuru.
So we got 2 more files out there we just heard, so we surpassing our goal, Uhuru. Now, right now, we want to bring our international president up for a quick outreach report, and I promise you we'll be gonna get you out of here when we gonna have the chairman close us out. Uhuru?
Oh, Uhuru comrades, well, thank you so much for joining today. Just very quickly on the outreach report. So we had done some incredible outreach on yesterday. over at Sular. It was also some Mardi Gras events that was happening yesterday down over at the Sular Market. Comrade Kabula, who is the Midwest Regional Representative, had come down from Chicago to help us with the outreach. The comrade had came in with some new Sunday rally flyers that you can find in the back with stacks of 25. So please do take some with you, for, as you're doing outreach out and about throughout the week. But the comrade had came in with 1,000 of these joints, and only 430 Sunday rallies flyers remain. So right on, we did a combination of we did a combination of the Sular Market, store drops. We started doing drops, but it's still pretty slippery outside. And so we understood, yeah, anyways. After that, we did Four Corners. Just out here at this intersection outside the Uhuru House with Comrade Fofi, Uhuru. And also, we had started putting, well, I don't have the posters at the moment, they're in my car, but we started putting up the plenary posters up on West Florissant, and as well as the Black Community Control of the Police, up on Florissant as well. Two spears, we were able to get out 2 spears over at Sular. And okay. The Sunday rallies like these and the important things that comes out of these Sunday rallies, including the political report that was given by our chairman, is something that everyone needs to be involved with and interact and things like that. So we need to bring people here. And every time we do outreach, it's an assault on this government's ability to silence Black people, and our work to not just explain the world, but to change it. And so the outreach that you do helps the revitalizing effort here on the north side, but we want to revitalize all of St. Louis on our own terms. And so it's not just a one community center, but many throughout the city. It's not just one community garden, but many. One Uhuru Shambhala Freedom Farm, but many. We need to build the capacity to feed, clothe, and house ourselves on our own terms, and to win real political power, in our own hands. And so, please do. I'll speak with everyone in terms of outreach, because I gotta be brief. But there are outreach material. There are outreach material out in the back. You can get the plenary flyers. Next time that you come to Sunday rallies, which is next Sunday, please do. Bring somebody with you. And so you need these Sunday rally flyers. And so they're double-sided. This is the Uhuru Bowl that's going on this week, but we do have a general one, on the back. And if you would like to take with you the Black Community Control of the Police and put these up in your communities, please do. The pigs are active. They've been wild for the past week. And so we need to organize. It's not just a matter, it's a matter of life and death. But yes, anyways, with that being said, Uhuru.
Close us out, Chairman.
Uhuru.
Uhuru, thank you, Comrade President. I would just like to again express appreciation to everybody. I hope that people will sign up to do outreach, so we don't just have these announcements, but we can sign people up. Mm-hmm. And you can do outreach on these days. That's going to be really important. And also, I want to say that we are looking for volunteers to do childcare during the plenary process. So the 3 days, if we can get volunteers, it'll be really helpful. People can participate in the childcare. And having said that, I really want to appreciate the presence of Comrade Jesse Neville from the Uhuru 3. As you know, Penny Hess was here a moment ago, and Jesse and Comrade Amanda, they were attacked on July 29th. Their home was attacked, they were held at gunpoint. And Amanda had the ability, what do you call it, of mind, that she recorded. The reason we have some recording of what they said, because she had a recorder on her phone that was there, and it captured some of that. So I really want to thank everybody for being here. And again, it's so good to see our children. And I got to talk to you, Torrin, because something's on your mind. And so, all right, comrades, relentless.
Relentless.
Uhuru. Thank you.
Each and every last one of y'all next Sunday.